What's next? Wiley E. Coyote for Transportation Secretary? Elmer Fudd for ATF? That's a cast of real cartoon characters. But Donald Trump has proposed three people who, frankly, aren't funny, but are rabidly anti American, incompetent, ignorant. Hi, this is Jen Rubin, and this is Jen Rubin's Green Room. Well, we told you it was going to be bad, and it is. Look at the three nominations that Donald Trump has put out there. Tulsi Gabbard as Director of Intelligence, someone who has openly raved about the dictator of Syria, about Putin, who has clearly made her case that America is the malefactor in any conflict with Europe and our other allies. Frankly, we have no guarantee that she wouldn't turn around and share whatever intelligence she gets with Putin. She is off the balance beam. She's a conspiracy nut. Other powers would refuse to share intelligence with us. And frankly, we'd be operating blind for the foreseeable future. If there's one pick that defines Donald Trump's malice towards America, and frankly, his weird and increasingly obvious attachment to Vladimir Putin, it's this. Tulsi Gabbard could be Vladimir Putin's pick for national intelligence, and maybe she is. Moving on. We then have Matt Gaetz. Yes, the one who was under investigation for sex with an underage person who bragged to colleagues about drug-filled parties with young girls, who just resigned from Congress to escape the wrath of the ethics report. Yes, that Matt Gaetz, and the same fellow who participated in January 6th, he is the nominee, get ready, Attorney General. Well, he has legal experience. He's been a target of investigation, that's sure. But this is an outrage. And it's an outrage to victims of sexual abuse, to victims of trafficking, to victims all across the country who are depending upon an attorney general who is sane, who's stable, who's experienced, who is going to use the justice system properly. Now, Matt Gaetz is hated by his House colleagues, and perhaps the Senate Democrats should call some of them as witnesses if, in fact, Matt Gaetz makes it up to the Hill. He clearly is a Trump stooge, but he's a dumb stooge. And in the end, if he gets through, frankly, it might be preferable to having someone like Bill Barr, who's actually a smart, real lawyer, heading up the Justice Department. But we'll talk about that in a moment. The third of this trifecta of terribleness is, of course, the selection of Pete Hegseth, a Fox TV personality for Department of Defense. He was thrown off a security detail because he apparently has tattoos signifying his allegiance, interest in far-right conspiracy groups. He has publicly said he doesn't believe in germs and does not wash his hands. That would be news to millions of service people who are routinely exposed to disease, have to be concerned about pathogens, have to be concerned about biological and other weapons in the atmosphere. It's really an insult not only to our intelligence, but to the safety and security of the people who will be serving under him. And, of course, he famously said, women shouldn't be in combat roles, to which the magnificent senator from Minnesota, Tammy Duckworth, replied, I didn't lose my legs in a bar fight, meaning she served and became severely injured in combat for her country. What these things tell us? Well, first of all, it might suggest Trump really is crazy, and Vance might have an inside angle on the 25th Amendment, because this is batshit crazy stuff. But it might be one of two other things. First, it might be a deliberate plan to soften up the Senate for more, quote, serious candidates who are nevertheless really dangerous, really unfit for the positions. So it could be a bit of a feint. Another option, of course, is simply a power play to force the Republican senators to do his bidding on the most preposterous, the most ridiculous thing possible. It's kind of like the big lie. You have to go along with me, this ridiculous, stupid thing that I want you to do, just to prove I'm in charge and you have no power. And if they don't want to vote for his nominees, the idea has been floated that they would go off on recess and he would make recess appointments. Now, those appointments would only last through this Congress, but 2 years is more than enough time to do damage. But that, of course, would signify that there's no reason for a United States Senate, and they can all go home because, hey, they're performing no purpose. They're not fulfilling their constitutional obligation. So we'll see. So what do we think about this? What do we do about this? First of all, you mock it and you make very clear he is a joke. These nominees are a joke. He's not a serious president. He doesn't understand the responsibility he's been handed, and the senators are spineless little fools to go along with it. So mocking is high on the list. Second, you make the senators, who are the only ones who are going to be in the ballot in the future, pay a political price for going along with this nuttery. Susan Collins from Maine, Tom Tillerson from North Carolina will be on the ballot in 2026. And I would suggest Democrats focus on these two people with a lightning and a really effective communication strategy that spares no prisoners, that makes clear to their constituents these people are not fulfilling their duty. They're not respecting the military if they vote for these people. They're not respecting the justice system. And to make these people sweat. It may not change their votes, but remember, that's not the ultimate goal here, because Donald Trump is president and whoever he puts in those roles is going to be awful. The point here is to begin to lay the narrative that these people are extreme, unfit, and really incapable of governing. And this is Exhibit A. It's a great opportunity. So even if you don't defeat these people, it's important to make the fight and to make them pay a political price. Because really, when you don't control either house of Congress or the presidency, that's just about all you can do. And that's not nothing. And perhaps one or more of these people actually will be withdrawn. Some people have speculated that Matt Gaetz went through this whole charade simply so he could resign from Congress and avoid the ethics report on his affairs, I'll put in quotation, with underage girls. It's possible Trump would retreat. Remember, there were some big wins in the first Trump term. Repeal of the ACA was defeated. And he was forced, because of the public hue and cry, to reverse his child separation policy. The way you do these things is by creating such a hubbub that Republicans feel like they cannot defend this. Republicans have to make a choice in the next year or so, and that is Donald Trump will not be on the ballot, unless, of course, he chooses to be and defies the Constitution. But seriously, he's not going to be on the ballot. He is a lame duck. They are going to have to pay a price for their subservience, for their sniveling accommodation of this character. And that's really the dilemma that they're going to face again and again and again. And you go after the House members, the Senate members who are the most vulnerable in 2026. So what do? You write to your lawmakers. You write to your senators. Do it to the senators who are in your state. Frankly, most senators don't respond to anybody who is not from their state. Leave a message because they count these calls. Write a personalized email or letter to your senator. Make your voice clear. And if by chance some of them appear in your area, many of them don't, many of them now hide, make sure you speak out. Make sure you talk to them. Make sure you confront them politely, peacefully, but make sure you confront them. This is about making them pay a political price. Our country is not a joke. Our national security is not a joke. These people are, and we shouldn't let them get away with it. If you like this program, tell your friends. They can follow us wherever they get their podcasts. Bye-bye.